Hey everyone, it's been a few days now that we spent hours in queue, suffered through disconnects, but most importantly, we've been having fun in Classic WoW. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about our journey, what I've been up to, is it all nostalgia and all those juicy topics. And do let me know your own journey down below, how you've been finding Classic as a returning or new player. Do you hate it? Do you love it? And I'll make sure to read every single one of them. Now, a lot has happened, so let's start from, well, the start. How was the Classic launch for me? Well, a mess. Partially my fault, granted, as I went to one of the most populated servers EU, Shazra, to play with the Stark boys. But yeah, overall, it wasn't all that great. As some of you might know from my previous video about warriors in vanilla, I went as a Tauren warrior for Classic, and there's a lot to talk about on that specific subject, but we'll get to that momentarily. Now, like many of you, I was one of those that was in game hours before launch, right? I was on that character creation screen for what felt like an eternity. I was hyped, I was ready, like a freaking kid on Christmas Eve. Honestly, I haven't felt that excited for a WoW-related launch for any other game for that matter in years. So yeah, I was all ready, all set up when that button lit up. I logged onto my sweet cow, I was ready to collect ostrich beaks that never drop, and boom.
You should have gone for undead.
Yeah, I was disconnected and put on a 20k queue. Yep, I wasn't happy to say the least, and thankfully those nasty disconnections have been fixed, because I had those every day till it was well fixed, and I and many others were put back in queue instead of properly saving our spot, so yeah, not fun. Sadly, I don't have all the footage of these great events, some of it got corrupted, is what it is. But yeah, my launch went quite crappy, but I decided to wake up earlier the next day to have some playtime before work, and well, let's just say I didn't want to go to freaking work. I just wanted to stay in Mulgar, hunting animals, killing kill wars, and just level my warrior and continue my journey. Now, this leads to the overall feel of Classic and gameplay. As many pointed out, the world is just so different from BFI. It feels massive, for one. Interconnected. It feels alive from all the people playing, doing their own thing, encountering people to do quests with. Like, one example, one of my most vivid and recent memories was this small adventure in a cave that felt more like a dungeon with two other Tauren back in Mulgar, exploring the depths of this venture company-like dungeon to find the big boss. None of us were using quest add-ons, nor we remembered where it actually was. Which is funny because I vividly remember skipping this quest entirely back in the day, as I just died over and over. But it's these moments in Classic that makes the game. Well, one of the moments. The social aspect that everyone gushed over the past years. And I was a little afraid that in today's community it wouldn't work. But it does. It's exactly how I remember, asking people for help with quests, where to find something, buffing as we pass by. It really feels like an MMO, and I really miss that in WoW. When it comes to leveling itself, well, technically, it's awful. Quests are just awful for the most part, and the drop rate are atrocious. Yet, they feel rewarding to do. Either be their difficulty, and by difficulty I mean if you're playing solo, the world feels dangerous. Since TBC that the world of Warcraft hasn't felt dangerous. Mobs are threatening again, and can easily kill you. Not because they have crazy mechanics, but simply the damage that they do in the way the combat works with its old RPG mechanics. So a lot of the times I saw myself planning how to get to certain places, how to get to certain mobs, taking roads to avoid dangerous and feared areas, and that constant engagement makes the game, the world, feel fun and gratifying, rewarding to play when you succeed, even if you're just collecting zebra asses that never drop. And almost everything feels this way, every time you level, the dungeons, the economy, as in your lack of gold to buy skills, to buy food, and etc. You're constantly thinking about every single system in a game. inventory management. So eventually getting that 1 gold, getting that first screen and blue, or a 10 slot bag, or 8 slot bag, or hell, even a 6 slot bag, let's be honest. All of this is interconnected into a neat big package, making the game fun to play, and why it's loved so much, creating the so-called journey as you slowly progress through it all, step by step. And in a lot of ways, all these systems and mechanics are very embedded into the RPG and MMO part of the game, which I know is kinda dumb to mention as this is an MMORPG, but those two acronyms seems to have been forgotten in retail WoW. And in many ways, Classic feels like this sandbox RPG adventure in this MMO-like world, where the game directs you to certain attractions, but you still make your own fun. You're met with adversities along the way that you need to overcome at your own pace and how you see fit. While retail, currently, is a theme park where you stay on a nice and safe little trail, getting all these cool but shallow attractions shown to you. But that's the world. Then we get to actual gameplay, as in your class, combat, and all of that. And as I said, I'm playing a warrior, and warriors are notorious for shitty and painful leveling. I even made a whole video about it recently, and boy, memories did it justice to how painful it is. Jesus fucking Christ, is it dull and painful to do it solo. Dying constantly by 2 mobs, almost dying by 1 to be honest sometimes, auto-attacking 90% of the time with your only decent ability being another auto-attacked ability, essentially being Heroic Strike. The first 30 to 40 levels are a pain, and I did not overdo it there on my past video. And it's funny because I've been getting comments on that same video, why warriors are awesome, saying they are in the same boat I am now, doubting their choice to be a warrior and how painful and boring it is. But there's greatness waiting for us at the higher levels. Berserker Stance, Whirlwind, Mortal Strike, how awesome we are at endgame. So in turn, having these things, these abilities waiting for you, having the old talent system there telling you that at level 40 you're gonna get Mortal Strike or Bloodthirst, or hell, even things like Deep Wounds or Sweeping Strikes or Death Wish are amazing incentives to keep playing. And this is found on all other classes in some way or another, rewarding you as you level. How many times on your 1-hour walks in the Barrens or whatever else, you staring at your talents and planning your way around it and thinking, I need to get to level 20 to get that. I need to get to level 30 to get this other thing. I need to get to level 40 to get my mounts that I don't have the gold for. And once I do, it will be awesome. And once again, with the topics discussed earlier, this keeps you engaged. It constantly rewards you, making you care, and it feels fun, just like the shitty quests or the general combat. And well, on the topic of combat, for me personally, in some ways, I do prefer this combat to the new version of WoW. Not saying it's better, because it's not. Even with a shitty BFA class design, current WoW gameplay is far more complex and far more in-depth than spamming 1 or 2 abilities here in Classic, at least in PvE. PvP, you do get a vast array of different abilities to use. But having all the RPG systems in place, and the keyword here being RPG, from the glancing blows, all the different stats like resistances, hit rating and all of that, reminds me of a proper old school RPG, even if it's a little slow and boring at times. And in this version, you feel far more in control of your damage. It's slower, but also means you know everything that happens. It's easier to intake all the information when you use an ability. When an ability fails, you can always act accordingly. And a good example of this is when tanking and how different it is from retail, with how threat works and how important it is. In BFI, damage is coming from every single orifice. It's ridiculous. But here, getting a crit feels awesome when you know where it's coming from. And in that sense, the combat can feel better than BFI, a little bit more gratifying. Granted, classic classes can feel really unique in their own way. They make you feel like a warrior, a warlock, far more than retail currently. They have more characterization due to their quests and niche abilities that only your class has, bringing their own set of utility. And that's one thing that my current videos of Why Is It Awesome clearly states, making you feel proud to play that class. So in that sense, you can actually argue classic classes are better. And in a perfect world, I would love to see a mixed version of the two. Perfectly balanced, you know? But yeah, currently I'm sitting at level 20 plus-ish, depending how long it takes me to put this video out. I know, super casual, but sadly, as I said, I haven't had that much time to play. But I'm taking my time anyway and enjoying the journey, as that's what Classic is all about. And in a lot of ways, Classic is about putting in time investment. And in the end, you will be rewarded. That doesn't really work in retail WoW anymore, and that was one of the fundamentals of the original design of WoW. It isn't just all about difficulty or challenge. Classic in general is a very easy game. Just look at the Ragnarok skill. Sure, it's gonna take a normal player weeks till you get to him, because there's tons of requirements, be the leveling, be being able to actually summon the damn thing, but once you get there, you might wipe, but it will be easy. He has 2 mechanics, for God's sake. But the time that it takes you to get there, the journey that it takes you to get there, everything that you need to do, once you finally complete it, you will feel very rewarded by it, even if it wasn't that difficult. What matters in the end is how the game makes you feel when you play. And on that, Classic succeeds with flying colors. Alright guys, thank you for watching. Personally, for me, I'll keep playing my Classic adventure till maybe 8.3, then switch back and forth till the next expansion, as I have high hopes for that one. Remember to subscribe to get more videos like this, and I'll see you all again very soon.